Hey, AfterBuzzers, tonight we have Michaela finally on the stand, Frank stalking Gabriel, and a lot of people searching for a baby. How to Get Away with Murder, episode 2, right here.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
We're changing it up, y'all.
Just to lighten things up a bit, you know?
We need some lightness
We
on
need
the show.
high hopes. You know what we have?
Change is good.
Because we have high hopes. Hey.
Yes, I was like, where are the lights?
Show
I was
lights,
like-
let's go. I have high hopes for this episode.
Oh, yeah. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Of course, we're covering Season 5, Episode 2 of How to Get Away with Murder. Already an amazing episode. I'm April Whisenhant, here with my lovely co-host.
Hey guys, Jamie Gray here.
What's up? CJ Walker here.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. I've been loving y'all's comments in chat. Sorry we're starting a few minutes late, but let us know what you thought throughout the episode because we want to shout y'all out. I loved the episode, thought it was better than the premiere. What'd y'all think?
Oh yeah, I definitely have to agree. Like right now, I think they're trying to trick us a little bit. We had talked about this before.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, them bringing in new cases, they just try to, one thing about How to Get Away with Murder is they try to confuse you on purpose, I think. And I think a lot of people get confused with all the flashbacks, all the new characters, and of course the cases with it. But altogether, I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like how they're starting to do cases again because I really like that aspect of the show like they did in the earlier season. So
Yeah. It definitely, tonight's episode felt like an old school episode of How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it the most. Like their kind of own real life stuff going into something bigger like the case that they were doing tonight.
I agree.
I loved the case that they were doing tonight. The very first case off of Annalise's Supreme Court win. It was an interesting thing because, you know, we have talked about a lot of shows in today's day and age. They go straight for it with the stuff as far as like being very relevant to the issues that are going on in the real life in the United States. So we see this character, Nanda, and she was put in jail for how many years?
Well, she was going
20.
to be put in jail for 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Going to be put in jail for 20. And for killing her wife.
Yeah.
I use air quotes because they were saying she was getting a divorce, but we know that's not true. What did y'all think of kind of her taking on this case? Because a lot came about where we discovered that she used to be married, then she was married to this woman named Allie. Did you think it was a smart idea for her to take this on as her first case, or like what were your thoughts?
I thought it was a very bold move because you have here a lesbian immigrant or a gay immigrant, as Michaela put it.
Yeah.
So also Michaela was bold. She was being very bold with Annalise. I was like,
Very
girl,
bold.
slow your roll. Like, and I love Michaela. I know you're like, I know you're not the biggest fan of Michaela, but I actually like her. But with this case, I thought it was great. Also, kind of not to bring it to like another show, but it kind of gave me Legally Blonde vibes.
Oh
Like
my gosh, me too.
towards the
How
end.
so, though?
Okay, because towards the end, if you've seen the original Legally Blonde with Reese Witherspoon, towards the end, homegirl had killed her dad on accident, but of course this was not on accident. And then she ended up spilling the beans on why she did it, and it was just like this huge scene. It was like, oh my god, oh my god. So it's, if you know what I'm talking about,
I know what you're talking about.
You know, leave a comment, like, and you know, of course, subscribe. But yeah, it gave me that type of energy. So it was very reminiscent of that, and I love how they kind of handled it and were able to twist it around because it really showed the stepson's true colors.
Yeah, definitely. What did I know? So you're not the biggest Michaela fan. What did you think of the interaction with Annalise when they're at Kaplan and Gold?
With Annalise
And Michaela, like when they're arguing. So, okay, prefacing this, obviously, what as we've all watched, we see them, you know, like Annalise always does. She's in the classroom and she says, okay, this is the case we're taking on. Nanda killed Allie. This is what's going to happen. Tell me what you think. And everyone has to give their defense. So we obviously, Michaela wins. I honestly didn't want her to win, but whatever.
I feel
happened.
like
I love Michaela, by the way,
I know.
But I didn't want her to win today because she just needs...
She's into herself too much.
She needs to be knocked down a few pegs.
When they were arguing, I felt like she was just so full of herself, and like I guess she really wants to be the next Annalise, and she's trying to prove a point. But I think she's just really into herself. So,
yeah. That's why whenever they were having the argument at Kaplan and Gold, or when Michaela is saying, this is my case, this is, and like, no, honey, it's not your case, it's Annalise's case.
You thought.
And I understand she's trying to make herself, you know, stand out, and eventually they do have to be on their own. You know, they are in law school to become lawyers. But she took it way too far with her saying that she was, you know, she's like, I'm not Bonnie. You know, it's not like it's just the two of them in a room or in Annalise's house like it used to be. There is a room of her classmates and people that are supposed to be helping her with this. So the disrespect to me was just way, way, way too much.
And I'm just trying to figure out exactly where that came from for this season. I feel like, well, I mean, really, last episode, Michaela has just kind of been going overboard with a lot of her tactics. And I'm just kind of like, what is your goal? And then I also noticed with Tegan, did anyone sense, okay, so that tension, I'm wondering what that was. Like, was Tegan feeling some type of way because Michaela is now still working with Annalise and not as much under her? Like, I'm not sure.
Well, Tegan is mad because
Michaela
of what
like tricked her,
Yeah, Michaela tricked her into stealing or into, you know, remember she stole her purse or whatever happened last season.
Yeah.
So she's the one that got Tegan into all of this trouble. She stole her pass and whatever. So Tegan obviously has a lot of reason to be upset. I'm surprised that, not to go off, but I'm surprised that Tegan was so upset with Laurel. But then I'm like, wait, no, she is the one that... See, as I say it out loud, I'm like, no, of course. Laurel's the one that brought the gun into
Tegan has the most reason to be mad at all of them, really.
Yeah.
She might have some sort of ulterior motive as well towards the end of the season. Yeah. Like, not in a bad way, but I think she has something up her sleeve, for sure.
Do you think that's her at the end, who's, like, in the ice?
Oh. Wow, I didn't even think of that.
Maybe.
Because we were all saying Michaela. I know some people were saying Annalise.
People said Laurel.
Yeah.
And it's clearly none of them.
Clearly it's none of them.
Yeah.
On the case, though, so Michaela, we find out that Nanda, you know, married Allie for her green card, which I was like, game over.
Yeah.
But then I was also like, no, we're too early in the episode for it to be game over. See, I figured out their style now. But then they hire Oliver, and of course Annalise hires Oliver. I don't know, first of all, I don't know what they would do without Oliver. He's the most
most tech
he's
savvy.
the most, like, I think, important part of their team, because half the stuff they find out, they can't find it out illegally. I mean, they end up having to figure out ways to present it as evidence to make it legal, not just like, hey, we got this by hacking, you know, 27 websites. But he, to me, is the most vital part of their team.
Absolutely.
But she hires him. He does the tech. He finds out that Josh, which is Allie's son, Allie is a white woman, obviously. Nanda is Muslim. And they find out that he had been posting on these alt-right websites. And that's ultimately how they kind of know to break him down. Were y'all surprised that Michaela kind of gave in and let Annalise take over? Or did you...
I wasn't. But
no?
What I was surprised about when they cut to Oliver, and and I forgot, what's his name?
Connor.
Yeah. When they cut to Oliver and Connor was like, did you verify this, when they weren't sure? I was like, oh my gosh, it's over for them.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I felt like, what if the guy didn't do any of this?
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad like it worked out.
Same.
Yeah.
Whenever that moment came up in the show, I literally wrote it all in my notes. I was like, OMG, OMG, because it's Annalise up on the stand, you know, questioning this guy, because Michaela kind of took a step back.
Yeah.
Because Annalise was like, okay, if you want to try the man that's been lying to the court for 20, go ahead.
Yeah.
I personally was very surprised that Michaela actually said, here you go, take this, you're better suited. Because to me, it seems like she's too much all about herself right now.
Too full of herself.
Yeah.
I was definitely glad that she, you know, fell back, because she had a strong start, you know, when she was questioning him. But when she kind of took a step back, I'm glad that she did, because Annalise told her, I was like, do you realize what's at stake here? This woman could have 20 years of life. You know, she could be sent to concentration camps. And it's like, you have to realize the seriousness of this and not think all about yourself and think that you just got this in the bag. So I'm happy that they won. I'm really happy that they won.
Yeah. But when Oliver said that, though, I just flipped out, because I'm like, I automatically start thinking about poor Annalise, because one thing that I've always said since I've started watching the show is that Annalise gets all this blame, but she's the only one who's never murdered anyone. And so all these terrible things happen to her, and they're pissed at her because she does this and whatever. But I'm like, oh God, now they're about to go down in flames. But it didn't work out that way. And the guy totally cracked and literally screams, "You're a stain on this country," just like her.
Yeah, I was in awe.
Oh, yeah. And to me, that's why I love this show, because they take those moments of things that you would think in 2018, no matter what race you are, where you're from, whatever, that no one would ever say or think. But
it's sad, but
people
it's
are
so
insane,
true.
and
Yeah.
they still do.
Mhm.
But I'm glad. That's why I appreciate a show like this, because they kind of, make it very obvious who the crazy person is. It's not a person, just because they're Muslim or doing whatever. It's the psycho that is posting on websites just about a person because they're a person.
Yeah.
Yep.
But good for Michaela, good for Annalise. I'm glad they kind of had their little like sentimental moment at the end. Also, Annalise was having a lot of sentimental moments with Bonnie.
True.
Yeah. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but I like Bonnie and Annalise's sentimental moments because
I do too.
I think they're cute, and I think because Bonnie is, she's always has these little vulnerable moments every now and then. I like them with Annalise, and it's almost like this sisterhood bond that they have.
Really? I feel like it's a mom-daughter
I was gonna
bond.
finish like a sisterhood / mommy-daughter type vibe, like as almost as if Annalise is like her caretaker, like she's her keeper. So that's why I think like sister vibes, sometimes mom-daughter vibes. So
are y'all not getting a weird vibe between the two of them?
Like as if they could be wanting to be together, like a love chemistry.
We saw them in last season. They had that moment like we talked about last week where Bonnie's like, "I love you," and Annalise has her reaction. She didn't say it back, but whatever. But it seemed more than just like an "I love you," oh my gosh, you're this person in my life. It did seem a little different. But what makes me get a different sort of vibe from the two of them, I'm not saying that they want to be together or whatever, but something to me feels a little odd about it. Like,
I feel like
when Annalise called, and why was Bonnie so weird? I understand, okay, she just banged this dude, and he's still like getting dressed, but
it's like you're an adult, girl.
Who cares? Why are you being so weird?
I feel like Bonnie just longs for whoever is giving her the tension and the love, whether it be Annalise, whether it be, is his name Ronald? The guy.
I'm calling him Miller because I can never remember his first name, so I apologize.
I'm pretty sure his name's Ronald.
Okay.
But if it's not, my bad. I feel like, Bonnie, she just longs for whoever is showing her attention and showing her love.
Yeah.
And if someone shows her that, she's gonna go for. I feel like she'll go for it in any way she can.
That's a good point.
I think it's in different ways too. Like specifically when it comes to men and women. When it comes to Annalise, I think that Annalise is almost like Bonnie's everything.
Yeah.
She feels like she owes Annalise everything. That's why she's always kind of been her sidekick in a way, doing everything that she can to please Annalise. And also, when Bonnie was abused, we found this out I think in the previous season, where Annalise had kind of nailed Bonnie in the court, and Annalise felt like she owed something to Bonnie. So it's like this mutual relationship that they have that's kind of strange. So.
But we can't forget about the like hate that they've also had, like the most extreme crazy fights. It's all over the place in chat. Desiree Simone says, "I get such lover quotes vibe from them." Then Chloe Butler says, "I do not sense lover vibes with them at all." I think that I don't know. I'm just getting something different. I'm not just getting the sister mom daughter. Something is just a little weird.
Yeah.
But I am happy that Annalise is doing well, that Bonnie's doing well. Annalise is in this amazing new house.
Yes.
And I'm just like, she, for the longest time, obviously she was living in Sam's house, and now she's actually like doing her own thing, and she's not living in a crappy hotel room.
Yeah.
So, but
or her mom's house.
Yeah. But as soon as she gets up there, she gets knocked down. So I'm just worried, but we'll see. Bonnie's doing well. She's obviously got a thing with
Get her
D.A.
freak on.
Miller. Good idea or bad idea?
I think it's, ooh, okay. Initially thinking I would think that it's a bad idea, but knowing Bonnie, she always has something up her sleeve too. But then again, she was like, I feel so stupid. Annalise is going to think I'm so stupid. So it's confusing. I'm going to say it's a bad idea, but I'm hoping that there's going to be a twist around.
Wrong.
You think it's a good idea?
Great idea.
Why
I
do you
feel
think
like
so?
because Ronald or Miller, whoever he is, he seems like a genuine person that he genuinely likes Bonnie.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
But think about the moment last season when he straight up called her out and he was like, "You don't think I know what you're doing? Like, I'm telling Denver everything."
Yeah,
but then they kind of just like brushed it off and never talked about it again.
I just don't see him having something up his sleeves. And I feel like Bonnie is starting to see that he actually does like her for her. And at first, I feel like Bonnie was just using him for something.
Yeah.
She probably still is, but maybe she's gonna fall. I feel like she's gonna fall in love with him, and it's gonna be happily ever after.
Oh, it's never happily
And
ever
maybe that
after.
could be him in the
I
snow.
was thinking that.
Did you say that was a girl last?
It could be, but I mean,
God.
it sounded a little deep. You know, I heard
sounded a
some
little
bass in there. But I don't know. Now I'm nervous.
I know. See, I agree with you in the sense of I do now think that he is definitely truly falling for her. Whether he had ulterior motives at one point or not, or whether he was whatever, he seems like a relatively, clean-cut guy. Now, they all start off that way, and then whatever else happens. But Bonnie and him, that situation reminds me of kind of like going back to the case of Nanda and Allie, where she said, we got in it initially, for these other purposes, for green card purposes, but then we fell in love. And it's like Bonnie initially started dating him or showing interest in him because she wanted to see what he knew. She wanted to see if Denver gave him the information because remember, he has all those files. He had been keeping track of them and Nate has them now. So that's why she started at first. But I think that's the reason why she got so emotional in that last dinner scene with Annalise is because she is, I should say, starting to develop real feelings for him. And Bonnie does deserve, I know everyone always kills me every week, but first of all, let me say, I really liked Bonnie in tonight's episode. And I don't want her to like go in this circle again like she did with Asher and like she did with Frank and whatever. She deserves something good. But it just, it scares me.
She's got to go about the right way. Plus, I'm not labeling, but I just feel like sometimes when it comes to relationships or like sometimes with men, they will try as many times as they can to kind of get what they want. So it's like, is this for real? I don't know. And EB agrees. He was like, well, they said he does not seem genuine at all in these scenes that Bonnie is not in. So somebody has something up their sleeve. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. What about Asher coming after the DA, like trying to get the job? Good idea, bad idea?
Asher, I'm always team Asher because he's the man.
Yeah.
He is the man. I relate to him in some ways, so I feel like he's dope.
What do you think?
So Asher is a cutie. I think he's just not sometimes he's just not all the way there. He's one of those people
he's
that
like a
almost,
kid.
but exactly. And he's a grown man, and he always feels entitled. And I feel like he's really salty that he didn't make it with Annalise's class.
Well, I would be too.
I would be too, and
Exactly.
I did feel bad for him. But it's like you can't just force your way into things.
Yeah.
What have you done to deserve this? So. Asher, it's a no for me.
Why don't you like him though?
It's not that I
he's
don't
entitled?
like him. I just call it like I see it. And here's the other thing, fans. I do like Bonnie. I said it's like a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
She has her moments just like all of these characters do. She has her good moments. But there are some seasons where I'm like, yo, I love Bonnie. And then some where I'm like, eh. So she's working her way up, for this season. But Asher, he hasn't proved himself authentically yet.
Yeah. I actually semi-disagree in the sense of
Thank you.
I like when Bonnie at first was like, stop being an entitled millennial and
Yup.
go get your own job. At first I was like, yeah, that's right. Why are you going to the one place where, Laurel has been, obviously, Bonnie's there, you have these connections. But then I'm like, where do you get a job nowadays? Where you have a connection a lot of times.
Yeah.
And you know what? She did kind of shut him down and I was like, yeah, you do need to get something on your own. But I was proud of him whenever he, did what he did. Whenever he straight up was like, dude, your speech sucks and you're going to lose because of it. You should take this stance. Because you know what he did? He made himself valuable and he proved his worth. And it didn't, Bonnie obviously was fighting against it, but DA Ronald Miller, what, yeah, his name, please tell us what his name is. The DA was clearly impressed with it because he hires him. Now that I think is not going to be the greatest situation ever, because Asher, as much as I do love Asher's character, he has a very big blabbermouth.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mean to, but stuff just like spills out and he can't keep it in. So I don't.
What do you think he'll blab about?
Well, you know, he has blabbed about a lot, not meaning to. But then I don't think it's going to be a good situation whenever Miller finds out that Asher and Bonnie dated. I don't think that's a huge deal. That was obviously a long time ago, but it's just going to create tension or a less than desirable work situation where it doesn't need to be. But I also could see it going where Miller just really appreciates Asher and they kind of have like a good thing going, a bond, and I can see it going in good places for him as well.
I hope so. Someone in the chat says that they think Asher could also be the person bleeding in the snow.
We've said everyone at this point.
Yeah,
Right,
everyone
that we have not seen in this last scene.
You know, the one person I don't think we've said yet is the person that I now think it is, but I'm going to save it for predictions.
Okay.
But, you know, before we move on, you have something for our peeps, right?
I do. AfterBuzzers, first and foremost, thank you so much for watching. We
Thanks,
are the
guys.
network. We are the ESPN of TV talk. So we have tons of after shows from reality TV, sci-fi, fantasy, challenge shows, anything that you can imagine. So don't just subscribe to our dramas channel, but subscribe to all the others. By subscribing to this channel, YouTube is so smart. They will suggest content for you to, of course, look up and watch. And of course, don't worry about pesky notifications. It's okay. If you want notifications, click it. If you don't want them, don't click it. Simple as that. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and of course, leave a comment and keep the conversation going. Thank you for watching.
Thanks,
I love
guys.
it. Yo, I want to, before we move on to our next topic, we got a tweet from Tennessee and Hale. You changed your Twitter name since last season, I think. But this is in reference to last week's episode. She said, I like the 3 months before and the start with the blood on the ice. I don't know why, but the gasping sounded like Laurel to me. She goes on to talk about Gabriel. He's good, likes him. Well, now we know that it's not Laurel.
Laurel.
Right, because she was in the little bathroom scene, the bathroom. Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that's how, you remember how they did it last season? Or before, not last season. Oh my God, was that 2 seasons ago that
Which
Wes
one?
died now?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was last
wasn't
season,
last
but it was the
season?
beginning of last season. It was
He
part
was
one.
already dead. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
he was
And then
already
he was
dead.
still on the show,
Okay.
but in flashbacks. That's how they did it. Remember, everyone's at the house is on fire and whatever, and then we would see one more person each week until we didn't see.
That's how every season goes, though.
Really?
Because
Am I forgetting that?
last season they were like in the hospital, and then every one by one you're like, who's in the hospital?
Right, right. They always do that. I think that's also why some fans get a little confused with the show because they're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I love that they do that. It's like it makes me want to watch each episode over and over again.
Because then when it finally comes out, it's like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though
so,
I
like,
never guess it.
Good old
always,
Shonda
yeah.
and
Yeah,
writers.
she's amazing. I want to talk about this whole Nate baby search and Frank stalking Gabriel thing because to me they coincide. Obviously they're two totally different things happening, but
Obviously.
Frank, obviously, is it? I don't know. Frank is searching, or not Frank, I'm sorry. Nate is searching for this baby, and he is, we saw him sleep with the DNA lady or the lab lady, and then now he goes to DC. They find out that it's from DC. He goes all the way there. Obviously, we know at this point that this is confirmed to be Bonnie's baby, and the baby was abducted 2 days after it was born. Now, Bonnie, that's why we did the flashback of her in court, thinks her dad told her that the baby died because she passed out when it was being born. Yeah. Why do y'all think Nate is so invested? Is it just because he and Bonnie have been working together for a little bit now at the DA's office, and he has we've seen them have a bond, like they drank wine together at his house last season, but why do y'all think he's going so hard to find out who this is?
That is a great question because I'm like,
Yeah, I
Nate,
don't
why do you
know.
care so much?
Like you're flying all the way to DC for
to
this.
DC. So maybe is he involved somehow? Not that he had anything to do with the kidnapping, but I'm also not saying that all black people know each other, but this baby is clearly mixed, and biracial, and so I'm just wondering how he's involved and why he just cares so much. Is it something that he would coincide with Annalise? Because I also still feel like Nate has some sort of grudge against Annalise too.
Hold on. How do we know the baby's biracial?
Yeah,
Are
how
we
do you know?
assuming
I'm so
that
sorry.
it's because we're assuming it's
Yeah.
Gabriel?
Because we were assuming that it's Gabriel. So that's kind of how I got
we
that.
don't.
We don't know.
As soon as you said that, I was like, no, that's why they tie together, because the show is clearly making us think that Frank is stalking Gabriel because it seems like maybe he's Bonnie's baby, and because then it cuts to scene of Nate going after him.
I still think Gabriel is Annalise's child. Annalise could have had another baby and just didn't tell anyone. Then it's going to be a whole spin.
But then she would have abandoned it for its entire life.
I mean,
After
you never
all that
know.
happened with her baby.
You never know.
They said that this happened in D.C. Now, where was Annalise when she had her miscarriage with the baby?
I don't remember.
Do we know?
It was wherever she was when she was in an accident. She was in DC?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying. Wait, and then do you remember that picture they showed? Do you think who do you think was stealing the baby?
So I know some people. Well, some people were not there yet, but I know some of us were like, maybe it's Bonnie. Which when we used to see the flashbacks of Bonnie when she was kind of in the being interrogated and things like that, she had long blonde hair, but maybe she was wearing a wig. She has light brown hair. Right, light brown. So maybe it was more brunette back then, or maybe she put on a wig to kind of conceal herself from the hospital.
To me, it looked like she had.
It was
the person that had a hoodie up. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's a face. But
Okay,
obviously,
I don't know
like
if
a
that was
very.
like a bang wig or something.
Oh,
Could have
okay.
been
It could be.
Annalise.
Obviously, we can't
That
say
was
anything. She was white.
a non-black
No,
woman.
you don't know these
If that
things.
turns out
That was a and that even the body type, that was not Annalise.
No. I want to know in the chat
Who do you think it
or on
was?
Twitter, anything, who y'all think it was, because I just have no idea.
You can't cancel out Annalise.
I'm fully canceling
Silence.
that out.
Yeah.
But you do your thing. We can all have our own predictions.
Maybe you'll prove us wrong. I don't know.
Exactly.
Watch everything. I will be right about Gabe's Annalise's son. That person in the pictures, Annalise. Like, I'm gonna be right about all this. All of you at home are gonna be like, "Wow, I should have listened to
Annalise
CJ."
didn't know Bonnie when that happened, though.
Exactly. And maybe Gabriel has a brother.
Just shoot my idea
Also,
down. Just shut it down.
do we know? Did they confirm the sex of the baby? We saw. Okay, and it's a boy for sure.
Confirmed that it's a boy.
So does Gabriel have a twin?
Maybe. But so clearly they're trying to make us think this is connected. Why do y'all think Frank is going so hard after Gabriel? I mean, we see him trying to.
Because he knows who he is. Frank knows who he is.
So you definitely think Gabriel is. No,
Is
you
someone,
don't think
I think Gabriel is someone like connected to someone in the circle. Yeah.
But I found it to be sketchy that he had a flip phone. At first, I was just like, "Oh no,
Yeah,
he's a
that
broke
is.
college kid. He has a flip phone." But then whenever
But who has
in cricket.
even if who has
Cricket wireless.
who has a flip phone? Like what?
I don't know. I would kinda
So
still love
it's
to have
kind of
a
like,
flip phone.
if you've seen like the show The Wire, Gabriel is up to something.
Yeah.
How do you even show up to this school? Why are you so pressed on Annalise? Frank, why are you so pressed on Gabriel? How did you know who he was when he showed up for orientation?
Yeah.
There's something there, and of course they're going to give us flashbacks and let us know who that is, but I think Frank is being a little bit creepy, even just with the video camera, like
Just
spying
going in
Frank.
on everybody.
I mean, these are
Well, it's
facts.
true, though.
Like even just him spying on Gabriel, that was really creepy. And I'm like,
Classic
I wonder,
Frank,
but I also wonder if Gabriel is also, starting to think, okay, this Frank guy, there's something about him too, because he was too close to his bag. This is a stranger.
Yeah.
No, he did, because in the what's coming on next episode,
Mm-hmm.
I think didn't Gabe find out that Frank was watching him, so he can see everything on his computer now. In the next episode, I thought that's how
what
it
they said.
seemed.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have to wonder. I mean, to me, like we all said, Gabriel's something sketchy going on with him.
100%.
Obviously, we know he's involved in some way. Coughed 2009 brings up probably the most important question: who is Frank talking to? Who is he talking to on the phone? Who is he talking to at orientation when he's like, "Hey, the kid's here"? Who is he talking to now on the phone when he's like, "Oh, I found a way
Denver.
to get in"?
No, not Denver. Sorry, not Denver. Not Denver.
Could it also be
What's Laurel's dad?
I was
Well, he's in jail now, but maybe
I mean, but
they're
he
away.
could have a
Maybe-
burner phone.
Maybe Laurel's mom, because how did and I think
Why would they
confirmed
care
this.
about Gabriel?
I don't know, but then I was wondering why Laurel's mom cared so much about Wes last season, you know?
That's true.
Remember when they were kind of talking together? It's like, so how? And then even when Wes's dad was shot in front of him, Frank was involved. So it's all of these spider webs kind of connecting. So we're not quite sure, but we don't know why these people even know each other or what their relationship is. But we had no clue that Wes even had these connections too. We thought he was completely innocent, and he was somehow involved with all of these people.
Right. That's a very good point, because I'm thinking, like, it's so random for Frank to be, I mean, we know it's not like some of the core people, because I feel like we would have seen like a little awkwardness or whatever at this point. But that's an excellent point, because we never know how all of these different people are connected. But that also makes me think that the Nate baby search is connected to the Frank Gabriel stalking. But it's a little obvious, but then I'm like, they're making it seem like it's one and the same, but then if it's not, then it's two totally different stories that will take the season in a lot of different ways.
And also, okay, so Gabriel's roommate, I don't know what kind of role she'll play here, because has sort of a minor role right now. But also keep in mind how the men in here are kind of using sex to bribe these women, with the DA Miller and Bonnie, Nate.
Isn't that backwards?
Yeah. Hey.
But not really.
Not real. I'm just saying. But like Nate and I'm forgetting her name already, but you know who I'm talking about. And then of course Frank and
Nate and DNA lady.
Nate and DNA lady, and then Frank and Gabe's roommate. So
which was because we see obviously Laurel walks up on him while he's watching Christopher, because Oliver took the job, and she definitely seemed pissed about it. But I mean, like, who's not gonna, well, obviously he had sex with this chick while your baby's in the house. But
Yeah, I want to know where did the baby, did he just sit in the stroller?
And why is Laurel so trusting of people with her baby?
Well, Frank is someone who she should trust, like, probably more than anyone with her baby, because he has been taking care of it.
And he can kill. He can help, he can defend the baby.
There you go.
anytime.
He has no qualms about killing someone to protect the baby. But I think that obviously she doesn't know the situation, and so she just thinks like, oh my gosh, you're crazy and you're so out of it that you had to have sex. Well, my baby was in the house, but he was actually doing it because of this Gabriel thing. And also he hands her a stack of, I don't know how much it was, but a lot of cash. I'm like, your briefcase is eventually going to run out. You need to save that. Stop handing like a random student, hey, here's this. Also, she could just very easily tell Gabriel, hey, this guy gave me, let's call it $10,000. I have no idea how much, but gave me all this money to kick you out. I mean, that's right there. Flag. He's immediately going to start looking into Frank.
Okay.
So, I don't know. What do y'all think?
It's up in the air. I just feel like, because I hate saying that I don't know, just because right now we're only in episode 2, so I feel like maybe by episode 5 we'll have a little bit more. But right now, I'm not quite sure.
Wait, should we do the special segment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Special segment.
Special segment. Keating knows best. We basically choose one of who basically is our MVP of the show.
Yes.
Who do you think is your MVP?
My Keating's best tonight is gonna be Michaela.
Okay.
Because of the fact that she stepped back whenever. Yes.
Oh, there it is.
She stepped back whenever Annalise was like, look, it's time for mama to take over. This is going to be real. Like, this is technically like a death penalty case because of the repercussions. But I was very shocked. I know y'all weren't, but I was shocked that Michaela took herself, not out of the equation, but let Annalise take first chair. So I'm going to give it to Michaela for growing up and making a good adult move.
Finally.
Right?
Okay, mine is going to go to Nate, because he was able to kind of get a little bit further. He slept with DNA girl. He was able to make the trip to DC to find out more information and get the signatures, right?
Yeah.
So I think
Very sneakily.
Very sneakily. So I think he's been able to get a little bit further. So mine is going to go to Nate.
And mine is going to Asher. Asher is the man. Yes, Asher's the man. He proved everyone wrong. Well, not everyone, but he proved He proved Bonnie wrong that he's not an entitled millennial and got the job.
Yeah.
And he's #winning.
Good
Go
for you,
Asher.
I like it. In chat, Chloe Butler says Connor is hers. Niles says Laurel. And E.B. Morris says Gabriel for actually caring about the case rather than the tuition.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that is.
I forgot about that. That's a really good Keating's best right there.
And he's just fine.
Yeah. All right, we have some news and gossip for y'all as
Yes.
well.
All right, guys. So, news and gossip. Here we go. The first picture I'm going to show you guys. This is to pay homage to Roger Robinson. Rest in peace. If some of you are wondering who this is, he actually played Annalise's dad on the show. He was not really maybe a favorite character, but we of course want to pay homage to this man and all of his accomplishments. So rest in peace.
Oh, I'm so sad.
Okay, yeah. On a lighter note, one thing I like is that all of the cast are really doing a lot behind the scenes and just really making these moves with all these gigs. Jack Falahy and of course Carla Souza, who plays Laurel, and of course who plays Connor. They have a new short film, and we have the trailer. Go ahead and play it. All right.
I'm sorry. What do you mean I'm not your friend? I'm literally your best friend. What are you talking about? Best friends? What the fuck are you talking
There
about?
she goes.
I invited you to my niece's christening.
Yeah, because you told me.
And from what they're saying, that this film will be coming out soon. What are your thoughts on this so far? What kind of film do you guys think this would be?
I don't know.
And like, is it comedy and action?
I think it's like a mix of one of those. It
Okay.
also like kind of sounds a little scary.
Yeah, a little interesting, but
It's
they're
like
good
a
at
little bit
that.
of everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
this movie is called Crossbow, guys, and according to Jack Falahy, that it will be out soon, so look out for that.
I love it.
Next, we have Aja Naomi King, who plays Michaela, and she also got a Keating's Best.
Yes.
So we have a picture from her from Paris Fashion Week. She looks
Yes,
fabulous as King.
queen.
I love that.
She looks amazing.
She
She's
does.
So beautiful. It's ridiculous.
I
Kinda
know.
looks- never mind.
like Annalise.
No, I was gonna say like a piece of chewing gum.
My
my
Lord.
Bubble
I was
issues
thinking
or
she kind of
orbit?
looks a little like Annalise there, actually, with the hair.
Yeah. Well, I like her look here, and we also have a link from a promo video that she did from Paris Fashion Week with L'Oreal. Let's go ahead and play that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And of course, she kills it.
As
Look
per usual.
at this. All the colors. Look, she's bomb.
She's just as fabulous in real life as she is on the
Yeah,
show.
she's super fabulous in the show. I love it.
Yes.
God.
Yay.
Was that her walking the runway? Go ahead for her.
okay.
Awesome. Well, that's Michaela, aka Aja Naomi King. And we also have some more stuff from some of our cast. Connor Rickamora, who plays Ollie, he has another new song. We played one last week for our after show. We have another cover that he did, and it is called And So It Goes. This is a cover. The original is by Billy Joel. Let's go ahead and play that.
In every heart,
He has the perfect holiday voice.
I know.
Like for Christmas time. He needs to do, what's that song? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Oh, I love that one.
It's
Yeah.
very
Or like
50s type.
the little drummer
Yeah.
boy. I love the little drummer
Oh,
boy.
yes. Or like any Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
He has the perfect voice for that.
I can't believe I never knew he could sing like this.
Yeah.
I'm way too uninformed.
And for all the fans, if you're like, where do I find this? I'm going to listen to it. You can listen to the snippet on Instagram, or you can listen to it in full on iTunes. So congrats to him. Now, last but not least, you guys, you know I'm swooning over Gabriel, aka Rome Flynn. So
Good name.
I know, right? So he had an interview with justjared.com, and we have some clips from that, some photos, and they have 10 fun facts. So if you're like, who is this guy? We know about him in real life. So a couple of fun facts. He grew up in Illinois, but he was born in Chi-Town. All right. If you're like, what did he do before he started acting? He used to work at Goodwill, Pawn Shop, P.F. Chang's. I love that place. Macy's, Mickey
yes.
D's, or McDonald's, whatever you want to call it. And if you're like, you know, he looks so swirly. What is his ethnicity? If he's not, because we don't know if he's
I love
Bonnie's
it.
son. We don't know who he is, but in real life, he is Cuban, Irish, and African American.
Nice.
That's awesome. So, and
He has
also.
a 3-year-old daughter.
He has a 3-year-old daughter, and he also wrote scenes that led to his 2018 Emmy win for Best Younger Actor in a Drama Series. The
That's
guy is
amazing.
talented.
Yes,
Man of
very
many talents.
talented.
So, you guys, those are just some quick tidbits about our cast, and that is our news and gossip.
Awesome. We only have a little bit of time left, so let's go super quick predictions.
Your
What do
AfterBuzz
y'all
TV
have?
predictions.
Okay, so for predictions, Okay, I'm just gonna go with the picture that we saw and then who I think is in the snow. So for the picture, I think that it is definitely Bonnie in a hoodie or in a bang, just disguising herself. And as far as in the snow, it could either be Tegan, it could be Asher, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so for me in the picture, I'm sticking with Annalise. I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care what anyone thinks. It's Annalise.
I like it.
In the snow, I honestly don't know, and it's up in the air. So
For me, it is in the picture. I'm gonna say Bonnie because I see the person looked white to me, and who else would it
Annalise.
be?
Right.
I don't know. Well, she is not white.
That is not.
But I would
She
think
lost a
it
lot of
was.
weight.
I would think it was weird if it was just going to be like a totally random person. That's why I only have Bonnie on the brain. But then I'm like, is Bonnie really going to steal her own child just to abandon him for the rest of his life?
Yeah,
Or maybe
what?
it's
Doesn't
like
really make
Rock the
sense.
Cradle, the movie. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie from the 90s where
seen
the mother, maybe because she lost her baby, I know she didn't have a miscarriage, but maybe they took away the baby because it was out of an assault and she took someone else's baby and then did something with it. I don't know, because you see her with Christopher, the baby.
Yeah.
So, Bonnie, you scare me, girl.
I know.
I love you.
That scene where Bonnie is with Gabriel. Oh my gosh. See, I have the two of them on the brain. Where she's with Christopher in the bathroom, like wiping him up, and then they see the blood. She seemed a little like, ooh, I could steal this baby right now.
Yeah.
But it would have been her own baby. I don't know. I can only think Bonnie because that's the only person who I know of that it could be at this moment. I literally have no idea who Frank could be talking to. What you said makes sense as far as it maybe being Laurel's mom, but then I also think Laurel's mom might be dead. And
No, I said Laurel's dead.
Oh, Laurel's dead.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. And then I think in the snow is Nate.
Really?
Yes.
He's just so random. Why
Because
would it?
he
That,
knows
I don't
too
think that would
much.
be like a huge deal for the show, though.
Oh
No,
my God, it would be
offense.
such a huge
Him
deal.
too.
He's been
Yeah.
on it since the beginning. He's that like underlying character that everyone always loves. Like you never have anyone that hates Nate. But the fact that, he and Bonnie have become close, he is going after her, which is or not going after her. He's trying to do something good, it seems, by finding out who this baby is. But that's why I think maybe Bonnie could have the look on her face when she's walking up to him, because it wasn't a look of like, if he's the one in the snow, it wasn't a look of like murder. It's a look of like, okay, well, let me just like finish you off. You
But
know what I
if
mean?
it's
Or maybe
Nate.
she's helping him. There was a comment that was left on the last video. Thank you for watching. And they said that maybe she was putting pressure on a wound. Like, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
because all that we saw was the black from when she put her hand over the screen or whoever this is. So.
Yeah.
But
I'm
if
going to
it's
guess that the
Nate,
person's
no.
dead because of her reaction in the bathroom when Michaela's like, whose blood is that?
If it's Nate, no, I think if it's Nate, the show's not gonna lose anything because he's not that
I think
interesting.
the show would lose a huge
Yeah.
amount.
He's a
Annalise's,
great
like
ally.
future love. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. We always have a lot of predictions, of course, because the show sends us in a lot of crazy ways. Where can they find y'all on social media in the meantime?
Hi guys, you can find me, Jamie Gray, on Twitter at It's Jamie Gray or on Instagram at Jamie Gray, and of course several other after shows like My Hero Academia after show panel, or The Purge, or Disney News Weekly. So make sure
Killing
you
it.
subscribe.
Yes, and I am CJ Walker. You can find me everywhere at CJ Walker, even on YouTube because I'm a YouTuber.
I love it. And I'm April Whisenhant. Y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant. Thank y'all so much for joining and chatting with us. We love it. Tweet us all throughout the week, and we will see y'all next week.
See ya.
Later, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.